Hello all, welcome, welcome, welcome. How we doing? Hope you guys are having a killer, what is it, Tuesday night? Definitely wasn't planning on doing a live stream this late. This is a little late even for my blood. Let me, make sure I got the, oh, there we go. Just a little bit of that. There we go. All right. So how's everyone doing out there? Want to say, before we turn on the camera, hello to everyone in the chat. Hyatt and Mug. Hello, welcome. Harrison Fignard, hello, welcome. Pat Calabrio, yo, right back at you. Lord Ludacris, thank you for being here. UAP Chinese Balloon Lover, thank you guys so much. We have a killer show in store for you today. Aram95, JDK, James Doyle. You guys, thank you so much for hopping over to the stream. I'm so sorry again. I thought I had a solution for it, but I guess I don't. Yeah, we're still working on it with the Restream software team. So as soon as they figure it out, trust me, you'll know. You will know. All right, let's do this, shall we? What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Normally, I'm asleep right now, or at least getting ready to go to bed. Stayed up late for the Heat game. Unfortunately, they lost. Looks like we're gonna have to go for a gentleman's sweep and win one in Boston. So yeah, I'm gonna do probably about an hour tonight. So yeah, it should be fun. Thank you guys again for being here. We've got a lot to talk to. We got a lot to talk about. I think the gosh, Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp. At this point, I don't. It's got to be intentional. Like, I just can't understand. And I think we're going to really feel the effects of this tomorrow. I just saw that Gaddy Shorts, I believe, interviewed Jeremy Corbell on NBC tonight. And so, yeah, it just sucks that the new people that are going to be coming into this conversation are going to be led by a snake oil salesman. It's kind of sad. Don't worry about it, Lord Ludacris. I think we'll win one in Boston. Baby. Jimmy looked gassed tonight. But anyway. So we'll dive into that. It seems like by the poll, nobody gives a shit about Robert Salas, so maybe we won't even talk about Robert Salas. I'm not sure if we'll get to him, but yeah, he was on the Good Trouble. Well, you know, let's quickly recap. Good Trouble show, Matt Ford, total mouthpiece for the man, is okay with harassment and threats of curb stomping to skeptics, but wants people within the AARO office arrested for not following up, in his opinion, properly with people like Robert Salas. And Robert Salas played a 20 or 30, 40-second clip, maybe a minute clip of his meeting with the AARO office. And long story short, it sounded like the guys interviewing him didn't give a shit. They didn't care, not because they didn't look or they didn't try, but because his story is so fucking old. Nobody can find that kind of paperwork anymore. Nobody can find those files anymore. And that's totally understandable. But Robert Salas just can't handle that answer. He was so insulted. And so was Matt Ford. Matt Ford was so insulted for him. And then at the end of this stupid clip, surrounded by a fucking 2-hour story the same story that he's been telling for the last, feels like, millennia. Only so at the end of it, he can sell a book he's already written, but now it's just got revisions. So, if you want to check out that fun show, please go for it. What a terrible, terrible, terrible show. Terrible show, terrible guests, terrible opinions. In it for the super chats, in it for the likes, in it for the clicks. What happened to all of his democratic, grassroots fundraising? What happened to Stand for Better? Maybe we'll dive into. I looked into the Stand for Better business. I mean, they haven't raised almost any money. The first year they did it, they lost money. But the second year, I think it was around $3,000 or $4,000. But now it's just strictly UFOs. Just a UFO train. Unreal, man. And then, of course, we're going to talk about Gary Nolan. I think that's where we're going to start. Because the other day I got into a little spat with Gary Nolan with my backup account. And as I was prepping for this show, I noticed that Gary Nolan, well, obviously he blocked me after I asked him some hard questions. I basically was like pissed off, because he's telling people, on stage in New York City, he's saying things like in tweet threads of people, holding up his New York City SALT conference appearance as some huge monumental day in ufology. And he's been walking back that conference ever since. Ever since he finished that conference, he's been walking it back on Twitter. So there's a tweet here from him that says, "Go big or go home," as a good friend likes to say. You don't move the ball by standing around deciding if the goal is too far away. Please do note that I was asked my opinion. A 100% certainty turned into my opinion. Now that he's talking to the UFO cult. Do you see how the message changes depending on the audience they're in front of? When they're in front of a UFO audience, and actually some of them do some research and found the discrepancies within the statements and big claims, and they don't talk to us the same way they do a New York City investor group. They don't talk to you like this in conferences, and if they do, it's with secret dinners that you have to pay extra for. It's a cult, and I'm going to use the word cult because that's what it is. I'm not going to tippy-toe around that. This is a cult. And this hero worship of Gary Nolan is so strange. It's so weird. I basically said that I called out Gary Nolan, and I was like, for the NYC crowd, it's 100% certainty alien life is here. And that wasn't the opinion part of the interview. The hypothesis, the let's go crazy part of the interview came after that statement. And in front of the UFO cult, Twitter cult, it's, please note, though I was asked my opinion. And then let's switch to this view here. Just make sure here before I do switch. I think it's my bookmarks. He's also saying pretty wild stuff. in an Eric Weinstein thread. You know, not wild stuff, but just walking it back. Walking it back. So Eric Weinstein said so in response to this, and I love that people are asking Eric Weinstein this question. I'm so happy we made that video and got this conversation really going. We really did. Eric Weinstein, any updates on the possible conversation with Bob Lazar? Eric Weinstein responds, there are none. In UFO/UAP land, very little ever happens at a scientific level, it seems. I have attempted in good faith to be of some use, but I am not pushing this angle. The door was open, but no one walked through, as usual. Make of it what you will. And on the same day, this statement was made.
Us collectively will have material, literal physical material to evaluate, to analyze.
Yes, 100%.
100%. And I'm curious, do you have confidence that us collectively will have material, literal physical material to evaluate, to analyze?
Yes, 100%.
100%.
Yes, 100%. Yes,
it's there.
It's there.
I mean, I can say this. I was working with a group about 7-8 years ago, and I literally got within a few weeks of gaining access to one of the objects. And when the people who didn't want us to gain access to it found out about it, they pulled some bureaucratic administrative tricks. And
bureaucratic administrative tricks almost sounded like you wanted to say corporate terrorism. So close.
Snatched it away.
It's wild. And so now we have
He got so close. So close. And when they did, they just pulled it right away.
And so now we have you, Dr. Nolan, making this bold statement.
You
are well positioned to make this statement. Now maybe we get into like some fun. Let's
now we get into the fun. Now we get into the speculation.
Feel comfortable hypothesizing.
A little bit.
Happening.
That statement was definitive. He is 100% sure that we have alien craft and material. So when I pointed out the differences in the people that he was talking to, and then I asked them for a scientific paper or just go get bent, like, get the fuck out of here. He sends me a paper, a downloadable PDF, or excuse me, it was a Google Drive. And I downloaded it. I read it twice. And then I sent it to my sister, who's a doctor. And I was just like, hey, this is what I think this means. Can you kind of help me out here? Because I don't know any medical terms. I'm not a scientist, right? I tried to decipher it as best as I could. But I could tell you what I didn't come to conclusion, that this paper had anything to do with reverse engineered craft, any sort of exotic materials made by non-human intelligence. It had nothing to do with abductions or genetics connected to aliens or crash retrievals or bodies or anything. Okay, it had nothing to do with any of those things. It basically is saying autism and schizophrenia patients both have a difference in certain parts of their brain. And Dr. Nolan and his colleagues believe that it originates from the same area of the brain. And differences are seen between the two of them, but they also have social, like, it affects their social skills. Nothing about aliens. Nothing about any. And I wanted to show you guys this part of what he downloaded me. But when I went to go open it, this is what happened. He deleted the file in the Dropbox. You should have seen how many people were slam dunking on me. Yeah, thanks, Nolan. Take it to that actor. You know, like, as if I'm not allowed to ask questions because I'm not as smart as Dr. Nolan. I'm not as prestigious as Dr. Nolan. Dr. Nolan, with this paper, which, by the way, I found, okay, it's right here. I will include the link in the chat right now for you guys. Let's see here. Did it happen? Oopsie. I'll include that. Come on now. Why isn't it working? Copy. Okay, I don't know. It wouldn't let me keyboard it. I had to. There's a paper if you guys want to read it for yourself. There's also a citation on this paper. I'm not sure exactly what the citation means, if it's being cited in another study or whatever, or if it has, like, you know, something's wrong with the article. I mean, when it says get citation, comes up with a little, you know, thing here. And so I guess it's maybe they had to change one of the references in the article, and so the citation is just giving you that update. So yeah, so this is go check it out for yourself. It has nothing to do with alien bodies, alien nothing. So the link that he put in that Twitter feed, he deleted. He then blocked me, and that was it. That was the end of our interaction and our conversation, and he's walking it back. He's walking it back, and nobody in that comment, in those comments, could explain what this paper meant. Nobody could actually articulate how this is proof that there's 100% certainty that we have exotic materials made by non-human intelligence. 100% certainty of that. This paper, this peer-reviewed paper that I asked for, has nothing to do with it. Nothing. I've seen your interviews with Toe. I've seen your interviews all over the place where you theorize about how this study in schizophrenic patients and adult autism might be the key to figuring out what you saw as a kid. But what you're saying is because now, and I asked, this is the question that got me blocked. So are you saying, Dr. Nolan, because I've had an experience, I've seen a craft, close up, incredibly visceral, does that mean I have adult autism or schizophrenia? Is that what you're saying? Is seeing a UFO the prerequisite to seeing it means you have to have one of these disabilities? I'm not understanding what the connection is. What's the correlation? I asked, what's the correlation? Or are these questions going to earn me a block? And sure enough, that's what I got. Because God forbid you question the almighty Gary Nolan. God forbid. That interview on Wall Street, this interview here, that he did, the host knew the questions. He even used the phrase read between the lines before Gary did. They use that phrase over and over and over and over again. Anytime you have a conference like this, the guest knows the questions that are coming, especially if it's a one-on-one interview like this where you have a limited amount of time. You go over the questions before you go out and do this live event. Therefore, they're concise. You know exactly what to say when you were asked the question. So this idea of I was only giving my opinion. No, you weren't. You believe this 100%. Your belief system is tainting your scientific work. You're biased. You're biased. And the proof is in the blocks. If we charted out the people you block on a graph and put it in front for peer review, they would say you're biased. It's amazing that you get away with this, man. Amazing that Stanford University lets you just travel the country and say whatever the hell you want. And feed fire for a cult that when you don't give them the reverse engineered stuff, when you don't give them the alien bodies, they're going to be, you think I'm pissed. Like, and I know this information, this whole Jeremy Corbell release, from like people like Danny Silva. I've never looked at UFO. I haven't looked at UFO Joe's profile in a while. I'm sure he's backing up Corbell and Christopher Sharp. But like, how can you look at this Danny Silva and be like, yeah, this is great work. Excellent work, Corbell. Excellent work, Knapp. Because I know he's friends with them. And I can't imagine like what he's thinking when he really is deep in his thoughts about this kind of just terrible information. And we're going to get into it in a second, but I wanted to finish Eric Weinstein's thread here, right? So, after he responds to the Bob Lazar inquiry, he then says, because of this video, let me just go ahead and kill two birds with one thread. Because he knows he's going to get questions about, what'd you think about Gary Nolan? And if Eric Weinstein, if this gets to you, I want to know, was Gary Nolan part of the crew that was offering you this access, that was asking you to sign an NDA, that was telling you all of these promises that you talk about in this thread? I'm very curious to know if Gary Nolan was part of that, because in this conference, and gosh, I got to go over it again because I feel like watching it a couple times, it just gives you a little more. It's clear that Gary Nolan has been part of the narrative building. He talks about building the threat narrative when they were doing ATIP. Like I feel like Gary Nolan is a big part of the messaging of this slow drip disclosure, if that's what we want to call it. I think it's just slow drip investment grifting. But anyway, so Eric Weinstein says, let me kill two birds with one thread. Gary is a serious scientist and professor at Stanford. I know him and enjoy talking shop with him. But you will note the pattern is exactly similar to the one I described with the whole Lucy and the football analogy that he used on Joe Rogan episode 1945. These are the steps. And these also sound very similar to the 7 steps of disclosure that we did a few months ago for the show. Go check it out if you haven't watched it. We asked ChatGPT to come up with yeah, go check it out. It's a lot of fun. So here are the steps. Outreach from credible United States government and ex-United States government contacts. So right there immediately, you got Lou Elizondo, you got Sean Cahill. In a way, you had Jeremy McGowan, all these veterans that they put up on Unidentified seasons 1 and 2. You had David Fravor, you had Alex Dietrich. Outreach from credible people, right? From the United States government and ex-US contacts. Bizarrely confident grand claims. Bizarrely confident grand claims.
And I'm curious, do you have confidence that us collectively, will have material, literal physical material to evaluate, to analyze?
Yes, 100%.
100% again. Okay.
100%. So, bizarrely confident grand claims. Planned, this one I think is my favorite. Planned disclosure on a timeline. The gears of disclosure that Lou Elizondo talked about all the time. Especially this, we've heard 2023. John Ramirez keeps saying 2027, 2026. Now he's added another year into it. We hear about Gary Nolan himself a couple of months ago said 6 months. 6 months, and then he's walked that back now to a year. Make up your mind, man. Which is it? Which is it? Because we've been hearing it's right around the corner. Matt Ford, it's right around the corner. Man, this summer's gonna be great. It's gonna be the year. I can feel it in my bones. UFO Jesus. What's gonna happen if at the end of this year, none of this shit comes to fruition? Or we get more flares from Jeremy Corbell? Planned disclosure on the timeline. Last minute change in plans. This is something that we hear all the time from the people who actually got to work behind the scenes with Lou Elizondo and Sean Cahill. Specifically. I've heard it from Spaced Out Radio. I've heard it from Max Moskovich. I've heard it from John Greenwald. I've heard it from Eric Weinstein. I've heard it from Stephen Greenstreet. Last minute change in plans. In other words, you get promised that you're going to meet all these people and they're going to bring you into a room with very serious credentialed people. And you're like, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. And it never happens. It never, ever, ever happens. At least not to the serious people. It happens if you sign an NDA, and Eric Weinstein didn't want to sign an NDA. He didn't feel like this information should be behind an NDA, if it's even real. So then you got repeated pattern across groups. And like, Jeremy Corbell has a repeated pattern similar to Lou Elizondo, has a repeated pattern similar to Ross Coulthart, has a repeated pattern similar to Gary Nolan. The list goes on and on and on and on and on and on in the patterns of the things they say in regards to all of these things I just named. He goes on to say at least 4+ instances of this behavior to 3 or more visible PhDs in different areas. So they've done this to 3 or more visible PhDs, this bullshit. This is what I can say. I choose not to say more, but this bizarre pattern is invariant. Gary's not making this up, nor is Sam, nor am I, etc. Very disappointing, but it is newsworthy that this is being done to PhDs. Why? Is this being done to Gary Nolan? Or has Gary Nolan been in this for over a decade? Gary Nolan's been doing ball shavings. Gary Nolan's been looking at alien bodies provided by Stephen Greer. Gary Nolan is direct friends with Hal Puthoff and all of these astral projection spoonbenders. Like, I don't know. I disagree with you, Eric Weinstein, that Gary this is being done to him. He's leading this fucking parade of gas bags. He is the Pied Piper of this parade of gas bags. He's the biggest, most credible mouthpiece outside of maybe David Fravor and you. I don't even consider David Fravor's not a scientist or a mathematician. He's just the pilot. I'm downplaying that, but Like, he doesn't know how to look at this kind of stuff. I cannot tell for the life of me. I cannot tell for the life of me tell you. If it weren't for the credibility of those involved, I would think it's a prank. I don't know, because he's so, he's already like, I want to beat this to the punch before anybody even asks me about it. Like, I don't think he's looked into the kooky shit Gary Nolan does on the regular. The blocking of questions, simple questions. And I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about very normal, very well-mannered people that aren't as aggressive with their questions, I guess. He blocks every single dissension, every single one. How is that open-minded? How is that good for the conversation? How is anyone supposed to take it seriously if they can't ask you simple fucking questions, Gary? Your experience is not proof. Just like mine isn't. You're an asshole, man. You're such an asshole to take your status and slam dunk on people that are asking you questions. And then kind of like misleading your buddies here as to what you're actually doing. If it weren't for the credibility of those involved, I would think it's a prank. But I suspect Gary wasn't weeks away. It feels orchestrated, never to happen. Feel free to draw your own conclusion. However, okay, back to normal life. Thanks. And then he added a note. I expect that there will be targeting for me for speaking out about this pattern, but I have zero interest in this topic historically until the unsolicited outreach. Simply a detailed understanding of the bizarre history of anti-gravity / quantum gravity era of 1953 to 1973 and the modern string theory stagnation era of 1984 to present. I have so far not publicly disclosed where it comes from as a professional courtesy, despite my irritation. I am under no NDA or clearance arrangements of any kind. None. I believe that. I don't think the US should be targeting STEM PhDs in this way. It at times feels like the non-consensual use of civilians in some kind of orchestrated disinformation campaign where I am in no position to tell who is telling the truth. Pretty scary, actually. And that hit home. It at times feels like the non-consensual use of civilians in some kind of orchestrated disinformation campaign it's like he's right there. He's knocking right on the door. This is his gut speaking. And I think he's pissed off because he's one of these STEM PhDs that's being targeted. And he thinks that his buddy Gary has somehow been roped into this. Nah, man, your buddy Gary has a belief system. And he is leaning into it really fucking hard for some weird reason. And that's why I think a conversation between the two of you on this would be phenomenal. And what's absolutely incredible is obviously I can't see the replies from Gary Nolan, from that account anyway. And it's hilarious what Gary has to say. It's absolutely hilarious in response to this. Oh. Okay. I wonder. He's watching this show. Gary Nolan's watching this show. He just blocked my secret account that I accidentally showed. That I don't tweet from. You're a loser, dude. You're a loser. You're such a loser, man. Yeah. I wonder why you took the paper down, Gary. Why'd you take this paper down, Gary? After you slam dunked on me and got all those likes that you wanted. What a piece of garbage. You really don't like when people call you out on your bullshit, man. But thanks for watching the show. Thank you for being here. Yeah. Why are you guys watching my show? I love it. I love that you watch this show. Oh, you're such a loser, man. I can't believe that I'm calling a Stanford professor a fucking loser. Just what a bum, man. What a bum. Like, who does that? Anyway, he basically walked back his statements in that video in that thread so Eric Weinstein can see that he's not as serious as he appeared to be. What a joke. Oh man, I was afraid I was gonna do that. I was trying because because he's blocked all these accounts. I was trying to get the responses for you guys. But you guys can go see them. I'm sure you have other accounts. Everybody's seen them, Gary. You're not like, this isn't stopping us. We're gonna question you at every turn. Every turn. Oh man. What a baby. You can't out-intellect me? You can't answer my simple questions? They're that hard? The actor that didn't graduate college has stumped you to a point where you've blocked me and the simple questions. Unreal. That should make you guys want to share this show even more and support this show even more. Because you know what I'm saying is bothering the hell out of them. I wonder if Corbell and Knapp are watching. When are you guys going to answer Eric Weinstein? Any one of you guys want to have a sit-down conversation with Eric about this topic? I'm dying for it to happen. But you'll never do it, will you, Gary? You support and follow all of those people that they can't beat you with the argument. They just make memes of your weight and what you look like. That's your side of this crazed community. That's who you follow, and that's who loves your bullshit. A bunch of kooky people. I consider myself a kooky dude, too. I love being a big weirdo, but I don't love spoon-feeding the weirdos a belief system that they get lost in. Gary, there are people thinking you just changed the world and that you're a messiah. Hero worship you, Gary. Is that what you want? What a bum. So funny, dude. Unreal. I can't believe you're watching this show. I cannot believe you're watching this show. That is absolutely batshit crazy to me that you're watching this show. Absolutely wild. I think Eric Weinstein is being nice to you and giving you every chance he possibly can when he speaks like this. I really do. I think he's kind of calling you out. If I had to read between the lines, Gary. If I had to read between the lines, I'd say Eric Weinstein is calling out your bullshit. Man, dude. Unreal, dude. Unreal. Oh, man, that is too damn funny. All right. I mean, how do we move on from that? I cannot believe Gary Nolan's watching. What do you guys have to say? I'm curious. You guys want to see my secret account? I don't give a shit at this point. Gary already knows. What a bum. What a bum. That's my secret account. I follow no one. I think it's pretty funny. Anyway, I'll make another one. I'll make another one, Gary. I can't get enough of you, man. At least I can admit it, though. I can't get enough. Like, it's always a joy to see what crazy shit is gonna come out of your mouth next. It's always a joy. Always, always, always a joy. All right, let's move on. I guess now that we've harped on Gary Nolan's bullshit a little bit. Shame on you, man. Damn, dude, shame on you. Shame. Just, you should take that walk like in Game of Thrones. All right, so obviously everyone woke up this morning to Jeremy Corbell's midnight, high noon bullshit. And I'm wondering at what point this kind of stuff is gonna wear thin with people. Like, how many times do we have to see really bad reporting like this from 4 journalists that all worked together on this story for 2 years? I guess we should preface that, right? The Daily Mail, Christopher Sharp in the Liberation Times, George Knapp, Jeremy Corbell, 5 people. And this other lady, whoever she is. She's in here. So, oh, wait, don't want to show that. Let's see here. Bookmark it on the other. Be careful, Lou. Be careful, Lou. Anyway, who cares about the 5th lady? My point is there's 5 people working on this story. 5 people. She shouted out George Knapp. But So yeah, so everyone woke up this morning to this stupid story, the 29 Palms UAP videos, and this was John Greenwald's response to it. And I wanted to play this because I think, and I'll go ahead and just say this is fair use. We are doing transformative work. We're educating the public and critiquing the videos we are sharing. Let me move the fair use banner to right there. Let me make it a little bigger. There we go. Cause yeah, I mean, there were 3 people that absolutely destroyed it. I think it was Mick West, John Greenwald, and then you also had that threw a little help in here, Paranormal Chris. He says the case has been solved. Great job, Black Vault. Mick West, glad I got to contribute to this. Still hoping for a day when something comes up truly unexplainable, but as a veteran, glad it was identified. So did Jeremy Corbell and Chris Sharp need to retract their work? So let's listen to what John Greenwald says first, and then we're gonna go and jump into the simple, really, really awesome work that Mick West did to break this stupid thing down. Where's John Greenwald? There we go. All right.
Why all that context was removed, I have no idea. So as of the recording of this video, I've seen the Daily Mail cover it, the same usual suspects, Josh Boswell and Chris Sharp, who I believe
Trust me, Space, I did
on this show or other shows.
There's no other way he knew it was me.
Research when reporting on these topics. Now, of course, they're beloved in the UFO conversation by many, simply because they tell people, I think, what they want.
Oh, don't do this to me.
Why all that context was removed, I have no idea. So as of the recording of this video, I've seen the Daily Mail cover it, the same usual suspects, Josh Boswell and Chris Sharp, who I believe I've either talked on this show or other shows about the lack of...
So Josh Boswell, Chris Sharp, Liberation Times, these, again, mouthpieces for the man. Every time Corbell drops an interview or drops anything on High Noon Mamma Jamma, there's always a accompanying article, and then there's always a fluffing of each side. Oh my God, your articles are so accurate and the details are amazing. And it's like, dude, he just wrote what you told him to write. It's so obvious.
Of research when reporting on these topics. Now, of course, they're beloved in the UFO conversation by many, simply because they tell people, I think, what they want to hear. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but you have to look at now the history, especially with this story, because those articles that were published in the Daily Mail completely omit any of this context. So what are they doing? Are they just simply parroting what they are told from Jeremy and George? Well, that's bad in itself. That's not journalism. That's PR. Or are they just not caring at all? To maybe they did find this and go, oh, that kind of ruins our narrative here.
So real quick, just to give you a little background, this photo, this video right here, okay, of what they're calling, and I love how they always have a name for these events. This one, the Mojave Triangle UAP, and what are they calling this stupid thing? This is the video. Oh, this is not even the video. This is all like, I hate this. The triangle, yeah, the 29 Palms, that's what it is. I guess that's an address out there or something. So yeah, so here's the object, right? And during the same night that this video was taken and these eyewitnesses were describing this amazing event, there was a huge military exercise going on where they were dropping flares and doing all sorts of stuff. So what does Mick West do? Mick West takes the photo of the craft, makes it transparent, and then lines it up with B-roll from that night of the training exercises. And as you can see, the lights from this craft line up perfectly with what are clearly flares. At what point do we say enough? We're not listening to you anymore, George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell. This is fucking awful. And now NBC's picked it up. It's gonna go viral. This is gonna be the thing. This is gonna be his pyramid for 2023. We're gonna be talking about this video for the next fucking who knows how long, and he's going to deny and deny and deny and deny and deny and deny that these are flares. Even though you just saw right here, Mick West breaking it down. So simple. Amazing work. I don't understand. If Jeremy Corbell was serious, if any researcher out there was serious about getting to the truth of their amazing footage, the first thing you should do is privately run it by Mick West. Hey, I'm writing this thing. I'm doing this article. This is really exciting. Here are the details. Can you check out this footage for me before I make an ass out of myself? But for some reason, Corbell and Knapp don't mind making asses out of themselves because they just opened up a whole new stream of revenue through NBC. And are we going to have him back on, Joe Rogan? You're going to put this guy back on the radio or back on the podcast to push flares. So stupid. Everyone sees that this is shoddy, shitty, terrible journalism. It's not even journalism. This is not journalism, period, full stop. This is not journalism. How can 5 journalists make a presentation with video and eyewitness testimony and omit the fact that there was a massive training exercise going on the exact same night? How could you possibly omit that? You did it on purpose because you're a snake oil salesman. All of you. How can 5 researchers not notice that the same night this video was taken, there was a massive training exercise? Unbelievable. If you're falling for this, if you're sharing this stuff as credible, it's not. You look like a dick. You look like a dummy. Just like I did for many years, sharing stupid stuff like this. It's such a slap in the face to it. Intelligence. But yeah, I love that John Greenwald calls these guys out.
Those articles that were published in the Daily Mail completely omit any of this context. So what are they doing? Are they just simply parroting what they are told from Jeremy and George?
Yep,
well,
they
that's
sure are.
bad in itself. That's not journalism.
They sure are.
That's PR. Or are they just not caring at all? To maybe they did find this and go, oh, that kind of ruins our narrative here. So let's just go ahead and omit all that.
Mick West in the house. How you doing, buddy? Thank you for being here. Thank you for your amazing work. Give Gary Nolan was here earlier. I'm not sure if he's still here. But yeah, man, you're a godsend. Thanks for getting me out of the rabbit hole, bud. Damn, dude. I owe people like Mick West my sanity. I really do. I don't know how you do it with such grace. I think the reason is why, because you never believed in it in the first place. You never were emotionally attached to it whatsoever. So you could really just... You do very well. You do very well. And everyone owes you a debt of gratitude. And every single person that I talked to during the big phone home that was helping me plan it without, you know, like, this excludes my direct team. Everybody told me to stay away from you. Alejandro Rojas is the first one that I think of that told me to stay away from you. Mr. Objective. He does not like Mick West at all, which is so weird considering, you know, you want to get down to the scientific core of this question. Obviously, Elizondo and all his buddies hated you. But you know that. It's just funny that you're here, because that was one of my points as well. Is that why aren't the Matt Fords and the Milk Farts and the UFO Joes and the J. Christopher Kings and all these guys and the Sean Mungers, the Curb Stompers, why don't they go after Jeremy Corbell when he puts out terrible information like this? Why does nobody say anything with the same vitriol and venom that they use on Mick West for Jeremy Corbell? Where's all that fierce attacking that you guys just love doing? It's weird what your selective outrage targets. It's not that weird, actually. It's pretty obvious. Pretty damn obvious. Anyway, that's not what I meant to hit, but I love that picture. You know I'm saying something right when every single person that used to love this show, be on this show, support the show, all of them are attacking this show and watching this show and blocking this show. It's amazing. Amazing. Never thought for 1 second that Gary Nolan would be watching this show. Ever for 1 second. But it's nice to know that you guys are actually listening and probably trying to figure out your next talking point or how you're going to combat this kind of stuff. Hey, I just like solving puzzles and helping people. Mute the haters and move on. I just been blocking them. But it's just funny that a Stanford professor is a hater. Like, how remedial is that? I'm the dumb one. I'm the slow one. That's hilarious. I love you guys. I see all these messages. Thank you very much for the support and the love. It's just amazing, man. It's amazing. I mean, even with the Invisible Night School stuff, and they've all blocked me. Like, didn't attack them. I just told my side of the story, what I saw. what I experienced. You know, and now they all hate me, and the responses to the show were very interesting, very, very interesting, including the copyright strike, which we've got about, I think, 7 days before King Milkfart can legally respond and see if he wants to go to court over this video. Maybe Gary Nolan will give you money to sue me. At this point, I wouldn't put it past him. He does follow you, I think, right? Or you follow him. He definitely likes some of your stuff. There's no doubt about that. It's wild that Stanford professor Gary Nolan is running with the milk fart crowd. It's just funny. Curb stomping, you know, Gary Nolan talking about a New York Times journalist as a DOD fluffer. Just the tinge of violence in your messages. It's just, oh man. It's so yucky. So yucky. You guys can't intellectually argue. You just either threaten violence yourself, insult the shit out of somebody, or sick your sycophants to attack somebody because they're asking questions. Just like Nathan from Calling All Beings got attacked and phone calls and voicemails. Just like I got phone calls and voicemails. Just like Rather and Michael Mataluni got phone calls and voicemails from these maniacs. This is your crowd. These are the guys you follow. Amazing. Pay attention to your heroes, guys. You probably don't want to meet them. And that's the thing, yeah. They hate you. They hate you. Lou Elizondo hates this field. Hates everybody in it. So does Sean Cahill. Code Word Havoc, what's up, girl? Thanks for being here. On a completely different topic, I had, hands down, the best round of golf in my life ever. Ever. Pretty stoked about that. It was an executive course, par 54, and I shot 8 over. 62, that ain't too shabby. That ain't too shabby, I say. A couple of birdies, a few pars. I think I found my swing, guys. I'm very excited. Very, very excited. Thank you, Cassandra. You're the best, girl. I appreciate it. What else did I want to talk about? What else was there? I think that's pretty much it. You guys, I see all the love in the chat. Thank you all. Thank you, Mick West, for stopping by. Thank you, Professor Gary Nolan, for stopping by. I wonder who else blocked this. I'm going to go through the account and see who's blocked it, and we'll know. You know what? Let's do that right now with you guys. Let's see who saw that little snippet of my account and who blocked it. So we got Gary Nolan. Oh, now he's, oh my God, what a jerk. Now he's unblocked me. Now he's fucking unblocked me. Dude, you are, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing, Gary Nolan? What is happening with you, man? It's too late, bro. It's too late. We know. Oh my God, dude. He unblocked the block. Nope, he's still good on that one. Let's see here. Let's see if this maniac is watching. Nope, no block from that guy. Okay. So, wow. Wow, dude. Well, Gary, maybe one day you'll come on the show. I'd love to talk to you, man. I'd love for you to put me in my place and show me how stupid I am. Please, the invite is there. Anytime. Clearly you're watching the show. That is amazing that you did this. Amazing. Incredible. Anyway. I wonder if that... Yeah, now that I'm thinking of it, I had 2 accounts open. I don't know. Maybe it was cross-rep. Who knows? But that is weird, man. That is freaking weird. Anyway, you guys. All right. Had a good time. Thank you guys for coming. We will... I don't know when we're going to be back. But yeah. I'm sure it'll be soon. I'm sure something will happen. It always does. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for coming aboard. Getting weird, having a good time. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe. If you want to support the show, there are links in the description where you can, for as little as $1, help support the show. And we really appreciate it. And if you can't, don't sweat it. Like I said, the other ways are a great way to help with the show. If you guys enjoyed it, thank you. If you didn't, thank you for being here. And yeah, I think that's it, man. Have a great night, y'all. I love you very much. Peace.